College football nerds, we're doing a quick video. We're going to do two of them this week. Ole Miss and Arkansas and Alabama and Texas A&M. This is the Alabama-Texas A&M one. Like, subscribe, helps us out a ton. Comment the score that you think it's going to be. We're going to do these quick because we've already done our 3 previews for the week, but we got some models run for these, and y'all are going to ask for them. So we're going ahead and doing them. They're 2 SEC games, so we're going to get called SEC homers, but whatever. All right, so Josh, get us straight into the model, and at the end of it, we'll do a couple quick picks and sign off on it.
The model for this game kind of confirms what a lot of people feel like, I think, after having watched football for a while, and that's why we wanted to do the video, because I think it's a little bit interesting. Straight off the bat, it has Alabama 42, Texas A&M 14, and I think people watching A&M have felt like, well, not only is the offense not good, but it feels like the defense hasn't lived up to par. And what it says about Alabama's defense, first off, is it says they're a pretty darn good defense. It doesn't necessarily think they're elite. Their on-field performance, 85% of opponent passing averages, like 80% of rushing averages. Those are good numbers. They're good numbers, but they're not elite numbers. Like those can be in the 70s or 60s even. Some teams are rush percentages in the 60s. A&M, though, not really respected at all defensively. They're allowing teams to have over their average running the ball and passing about the same as Alabama. Good pass defense, not much more than that. And most of that's due really to the disruptiveness of the D-line, I think. But when you look at it offensively, it just becomes a total mismatch because A&M's defense is not playing very well. Or it's not defense. A&M's quarterback isn't playing very well. Calzada's not been effective. So it thinks they're going to have like 5.7 yards per attempt. Alabama, I mean, they're going to be reduced, but still to a team that's running for over 4.5 yards per carry, a team that's throwing for over 8 yards per attempt, be able to basically run their offense the way they want to run it against a team that's not going to move the ball, and you end up with a lopsided score. And I think the big takeaway here is our model doesn't care what your recruiting rankings are. It doesn't care what the name on the jersey is. We developed this to be a neutral baseline that just looks at on-the-field performance, looks at you relative to how you played in your games, relative to how your opponents did against everybody else, and evaluates you. And it's saying, look, whatever your expectations were for A&M, they're not on the field. And at this point, we've got to kind of accept that Texas A&M is, from the model's perspective, about as tough an opponent as you would have expected Miami to be, or maybe even less so. It just doesn't see this as in any way a competitive matchup.
So for my pick, I think that Alabama is going to not look as great because of the timing of where they get A&M on the schedule. If they got A&M last week and A&M was a top 10 team, I think this would be actually a bigger, ironically, blowout for Alabama. Meaning if they caught A&M before Arkansas and before they had to gear up for Ole Miss, I think it'd be a lot different. I think they're going to not be as sharp this week, but I still think they win. Give me 34-17. I think that Vegas is showing that in the 15.5-point spread. I think they think it's going to be a little bit of a sleepy game for Alabama, maybe a backdoor cover for A&M. 34-17, and the game's never really in doubt. Give me your score.
Yeah, I have this one 31-13, and I think the spread currently is actually 17.5. It's gone up a little bit even since last week, but it's kind of crazy, right? 31-13 covers barely at 18 points, and I think people see that line and think it's a non-competitive game. But yeah, I mean, that's what Alabama has to win this game 31-13 to cover. And that's what we're looking at. I personally think the bigger issue is that Alabama's offensive line has looked shaky at times. Texas A&M's defensive line is really disruptive and good at a level that Alabama absolutely hasn't faced. And I think that's going to give Alabama some difficulties and make them sputter some offensively. But at the end of the day, I think Texas A&M with a much more traditional pro-style offense and some shaky quarterback play is going to be so ineffective on the offensive side of the ball that they're just going to break at a certain point. And Alabama's never going to really feel threatened.
You know what? I'm going to change my score. I think that, thinking about what you said and thinking more about this being really a game where Alabama's going to get a lot of short fields because I'm not sold on them offensively for Texas A&M. I think that it's going to look a little more or feel a little more like not a blowout, but because they get those short fields, I feel like it's going to be a little. Give me 41-17. I'm gonna change that here on the fly. Give me one kind of parting shot, one thought about this game that maybe people aren't thinking about.
The one thing I would say is you just picked 41-17, and the reason we did this video is I want you to realize that's not very far off from the model at all. If you were to just look at if either team played their B-plus game based off what they've done on the field relative to their competition, 41-17 is what you should expect out of this game. And I think we all, if it comes out that way, are going to have to recalibrate our evaluation of Texas A&M. And if you're a Texas A&M fan, I think you need to very fairly be critical of your program, because you are not any. Texas A&M is not anywhere. It's not just Calzada. The whole team is not anywhere near the level they were expected to be. And that's a major disappointment for that program.
All right, let us know in the comments what you think the score is going to be, and we will get in there and mix it up with you. This was a quick one. We've got some long ones if you want to listen to us talk some more. Also did the live show if you want to listen to us talk a lot. Thanks so much, y'all. Have a great week, and God bless.